Hey, what's going on YouTube? Hi, Dave here. I hope everyone's doing well. I have a new theory that I must share with you guys. I just want to share it so anybody out there that is a researcher or just likes to hike and is out there and checking out sign, keep this in mind. This is also subject to change because I keep changing my theories and on all this and stuff and junk. Right? I constantly juggling theories in my mind. But if it sounds like I'm reading this from maybe a journal, it's because I am. So let's just start off with these sticklings that I see in the woods. Often I'll see one a branch, a small 3 foot little branch or a broken limb leaning up against a tree. Sometimes it's one or two, multiple three. I see a lot of three sticks. But anyways, I have a theory on this right now. I believe it is possibly that Sasquatch will use it to mark its territory. And I do mean marking its territory as if it urinates on a tree, marking its territory, which all animals do this. And I'm not saying that, I'm not categorizing Bigfoot as an animal. I'm just saying all creatures on the earth mark their territory. Not all. Most creatures mark their territory. And I believe that this is a thing. Okay. And I believe that they will use a stickling for a visible marker. So another Bigfoot will know where to look. Maybe they can smell the scent that is left on the tree from the urine that the urine puts off, or for instance, maybe a fellow Sasquatch can tell when or where his buddy or a particular family member may have passed through that area, or it can track members of their family or members of their clan when they're off on their own doing their own thing, right? I think too, with my theory on sticklings, it coincides with tree breaks, tree bends, X's that we'll often see out in the woods. I think certain types of leans or breaks are a sort of signature, personalized marker. Like for instance, leans, breaks, etc. Another Bigfoot or a group can follow a particular type of break or a lean and know kind of who it's following, in which direction it's headed. It's if it's on its own, it can continue to follow these breaks, and it can know that, oh, my brother or sister is traveling right in this direction. I know this stickling, or I know this bend. That it's a signature type marker. And of course, depending on the age of the break, I mean, like if it's a break that's just old and brown, you can tell the last time that member from your group or your family has been through that area. Depending on how old it is. You know, when it's passing through a particular area. So the reason why I believe this, which is I think it's important to try to explain this, is that from region to region or area to area, in my area in southern New England, I don't think that Sasquatch is in huge numbers. I don't want to overestimate the number or underestimate. I'm not sure, but I don't think that they're huge populations, and they must be familiar with one another. There's is another theory I have. It's not like there's a population of 500,000 Bigfoot in Massachusetts. So they must be familiar with other groups, other clans, other family units in their own habitation area, right? And that they work together. They keep an eye on each other. They flush out prey together. Um, I don't believe that a group or a clan will or cannot stay in one area too long. I mean, I've talked about that, about out hunting the prey in the area. They stay on the move. They try and constantly avoiding humans. It means that they're always moving. It is my theory. So it does make sense that on the outset of each travel period, whatever that may be, they'll send out a few or send out one to scope out an area up ahead. You know what I mean? To kind of scope out the season's travel corridor, so to speak. And I've talked about travel corridors that I think they're constantly changing, and unless in like tight, close pinch points in the smaller forested areas in my area, smaller clusters of green belts. Um, as they travel as a pod or a group, and they'll set out and follow these scouts or a scout that will leave these breaks and leans, bends, left by this forward observator or forward observation group or that's ahead of them. They set out ahead of time, and then as the group will follow later on, say it's weeks later, they'll read these things, these breaks and leans and things like this, and they can determine exactly which group member or clan left this particular break or this particular lean or so on. So like maybe certain groups or clans, they leave the same sign, like the signature signs for a certain clan or a certain family unit have a particular break or bend that they'll use all the time, right? So like say a Sasquatch is walking through the forest and as he's walking, he spots a stick lean and he approaches the stick lean and he can tell who left that particular signature lean. Like, oh, that's my buddy Frank, right? He was here 4 days ago or a week ago and he can tell, right? Again, theory. Also, I don't believe that they use the same travel corridors, as I said, all the time as they move across areas or large swaths of forest. They avoid that. They don't make a trail, so to speak, like a game trail. I think that it could be years before they use the same exact travel corridor again. Like in my area, I see old breaks that could be many years old, and then I see a brand new one that was it just happened this year. So but I believe that they have to use the same forest areas, but I just think that they'll use separate corridors through those forested areas as not just leave a matted down trail, right? So, I mean, and with stick leans, and again, I'll go back to the marking its territory, like jaguars, for instance, in South America, they'll mark its territory by urinating on a tree and clawing it and leaving big gouges in the tree bark as a visual sign as well as a scent. So either a male would come across that and know not to cross that boundary, where a female will cross that boundary in hopes of mating. In the case of Bigfoot, I believe that they use kind of the same tactics. This kind of prevents competition for food. You hunt your own area, you mark your own area, and it's yours. And there's many examples of animals. Elephants will do this. Lions mark their territory by spraying trees. Rhinos mark their territory by digging a hole and pooping in it, and they pee in it as well. And leopards, dogs, hyenas, cats, cheetahs, coyotes, squirrels, hippos, mountain lions, bears, deer, rabbits. It goes on and on. They mark their territory. So it only stands to reason for me that they mark territory. So when it comes to Sasquatch, why would they not do the same as other animals and mark their territory? There's many reasons for this. I believe it, and a couple would be, again, food source or hunting grounds. There has to be competition there for food. I don't know the range of a Bigfoot pod or clan that needs to survive, but depending on the population numbers, there needs to be a limit, right? That you can't just have a bunch of Bigfoots running around chasing down prey. And then you've got the habitat or living quarters, or not necessarily living there long term, but where they stay for a short period of time. They can't all be related, right? Bigfoot, they're not all family. So there must be separate family clans or groups, right? There has to be some sort of separation between family units, and I'm sure they work together to survive, but they can't all travel together at the same time. And then there's the rogue element, a solo Bigfoot that, or maybe orphaned, so to speak. I'm not sure. But in order to ensure an outcast, right, that doesn't cross into your boundaries, you have to mark your territory so it doesn't invade a family clan. So, the intent is there to mark its area. If it wanders into a territory, there's got to be consequences. And this is a whole nother theory about the rogue Sasquatch. And you just can't roam willy-nilly about the forest, right? Just hunting and sleeping and pooping and peeing wherever the heck you want. You have to make sure you're not in the area of a dominant clan. So my theory may be wrong, but I think it's a solid theory nonetheless. And I think these signs, these breaks, leans, and tree bends and tree breaks and structures, that there's a specific meaning to all of it. And the more time I spend in their habitat, the more I feel I'm learning. And the more we share our experiences, the more we learn about the species. I think that we're all better off. You know what I'm saying? At least I'll tell you where I am, where I hiked, where I find these things, and I very appreciative for you guys clicking. And if you stayed for the end of the video, God bless you. Leave a comment, tell me what you think, and tell me your thoughts. Thank you guys for clicking, and I'll see you on the next one.